So you want to stop procrastinating and it's really been affecting your life. Well, this video will give a solution to that. And it's all coming from a person who's been a serial procrastinator. And this is how I actually dealt with it. Firstly, let's talk about the symptoms of procrastination before we go on to the next steps. This will make it so that you actually have a why to your how, right? It's very important. If you have a will, there is a way, and this is the will. So for symptoms, number one is perfectionism. And now it might sound like a good thing, perfectionism, but this is the phenomenon where you waste a whole day because it didn't start perfectly. And it's also an excuse for you to continue to waste time and continue to procrastinate because you believe the day is ruined because it didn't go exactly as planned. And it's this notion of perfection that is seriously sabotaging you. And this goes on to the second symptom, which is the fear of failure. Now, if you want everything to be perfect, the moment it is not perfect, then it's ruined. That is the whole notion of it. And you want everything to be right, you want everything to be correct, because at the end of the day, that is the ambition within you. That is the high standards within you. But this notion of starting off perfect means you're going to fear anything that isn't perfect. The likelihood or the chance of anything being a failure or something being a mistake. So you avoid everything that could be a possible mistake. And this comes with your identity. This comes with your high ego. And it isn't exactly a bad thing, but in this case, it does sabotage you. And it's very counterintuitive to actually succeeding. And at the end of the day, it comes to our third symptom, and that is using procrastination as a coping mechanism. And this means you leave tasks until the last minute in order to create an excuse for failure, in order to create an excuse for not putting 100% in, because now it's no longer a question of your ability, but a question of the time you used up and your time management. And so it gives a very small caveat to failure. Even though the outcome's the same, you have an excuse. And it's honestly just to protect your self-esteem. But at the end of the day, procrastination affects you entirely. And number one is your future. Days start to blur together as you avoid ever actually starting. Waiting for the perfect day and waiting for months and years for that day. Convincing yourself to spend another day doing the easy things, protecting your self-esteem, that you create this perfect day in your mind that you want to go through, so you wait until the next day. But tomorrow never comes. And time flies. And before you know it, you've wasted months. And it's already 2025, and it's already a month into 2025. And if you look back, I'm sure every single day has been the same. Oh, I wasted this much time, I may as well start tomorrow. Oh, I'll start on a Monday because if I want this to be perfect, I want it to have a perfect foundation. It's this notion of having foundations when you haven't even built the first brick. Secondly, it affects your mental health quite a lot. Chronic procrastination can lead to guilt, a lack of self-esteem, a lack of confidence, and at the end of the day, it just makes you feel horrible about yourself because it feels like your word means nothing. And you say you're gonna do it tomorrow, but you never do. And slowly but surely, the one thing a man has, the one thing a man can give a woman, and the one thing that you can give yourself, which is your word, which is your promise, is broken, right? And it means nothing. That is the worst thing to happen. And you get frustrated, and the cycle keeps going on and on and on, becoming harder and harder to actually create change, to create progress. So what is the solution to stopping procrastination? Number one is action, and that is the most important thing. That is the remedy to all of your problems. And what I mean by this is this. Bruce Lee said to be like water. And he said this not because of some Zen bullshido garbage. He said this for a simple reason, and that is this. If you imagine a river is clean and the river is safe to drink from because of the constant movement and the constant action and the thrust of the water that cleans away the dirt, that stops bacteria from building up, that stops algae from forming. And that is exactly why a river is clean and a river is pristine and beautiful. But even the largest river will dry up and turn into small puddles if it stops moving, if the stream is blocked. And so what happens is bacteria builds up, it turns muddy, and all you get is this feeling of being stuck. You have to understand that any motion, slow motion, is better than no motion at all. And action is the only remedy to success, and is the only remedy to depression, and is the only remedy to what you're going through right now. And what I mean is very, very simple, and that is the second solution. It is to build a routine in the action. And what I mean is the basics. If you haven't slept and woken up at the exact same time, and you haven't stayed consistent with your sleep, with your diet, with doing the laundry, brushing your teeth, how do you expect to do the extraordinary things you've always dreamed of that no one else could do every day? How can you do the hard work every day if you can't even brush your teeth, have a cold shower, do the small things, the basics? And so it takes away a lot of burden when all you need to do is just to start a routine and do the small things. And what it also does is it creates momentum and it creates power to your word so that you actually do the things that you say you're going to do. And so if you're in a rut right now, and if you're procrastinating and you feel like nothing is working, start off with the small things. Start off with sleeping at 9 p.m. Try and get 10 hours of sleep. Because, okay, if you're going to get bad sleep, if you're not going to exercise, if you're not going to brush your teeth and you just bed rot every day and not go outside, of course you're going to feel horrible. Of course you're going to have no motivation. Because motivation at the end of the day is a drug that is released into your brain after you've done the task. You get the motivation, you get the dopamine, that is what it is, after the chocolate and after the work, and that is how everything works. And if you don't do anything, and if you stay stuck in a puddle, nothing will happen. And it's a savage cycle, and the only person who can break it isn't your friends, isn't your girlfriend, isn't your father, it is you. So create a realistic routine to create momentum in your life that can then be used to create success. Create a routine and start small, my friend. Action is better than inaction. Slow motion is better than no action. And the one thing that you can do with your life is to start today, because the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now.